Greetings shippers, welcome back, and it's time to answer another question that we didn't get to in the Q&A, specifically about anime. Muffler. Every time I start filming, someone drives by with the loudest muffler in the universe. So, anime. It's actually one of the autofills when you look up this channel's name on YouTube. People have been asking about it for a long time. They want specific ships, they want to talk about anime, and that's great. I love anime and I'm super excited to talk about it. As I touched on in the Q&A, it was more a question of the amount of research that needs to be put into it and not having the time to do it at that moment. But we're starting to have more time. As I mentioned in a previous video, the Death Note rewatch is on its way, things are moving, it's all happening. However, what I found amusing was that when there's a lack of something, people try and fill in why that is with a narrative, which of course is understandable. It's human nature. There has to be a reason for why things are happening. The only thing is the narrative people kept filling in for why there wasn't that much anime on the channel was always really conspiracy theory-y or intense or just not accurate. It usually revolved around the idea that either I hate anime and that's why I don't talk about it, or I know nothing about it. They're not implausible theories, both could be true, they both just happen not to be, so I'm gonna answer this question. A quick note before we do, I want to say thank you to some of you who sent in some fan art. I'm gonna show it. Thanks so much to Animated Storyteller for the galactic piece of fan art. I love it. It matches my new banner, and I'm thinking of putting it in there. I love that my awkward wave is in there too. Greetings to you as well. I also got this lovely piece from Callie, who emailed me to let me know she's been watching since the Black Widow Winter Soldier video. That's amazing. Thanks so much for sticking around this long and for sending me this lovely piece. I really enjoy fan art as a part of fandom. Fanfics, fan art, just up there for me, obviously. So when I get fan art, it's like this meta form of appreciation that just really puts me over the moon, so thank you so much. So, let's respond to Sarita Hin. Do you watch anime? What do you watch? Do you have or know any ship from the anime world? I love Barnaby x Tiger from Tiger and Bunny, and also Zora x Sanji from One Piece. Firstly, shout out to Tiger and Bunny. I have watched Tiger and Bunny. I do recommend it. Tiger and Bunny originally aired in 2011 and ran for 25 episodes and followed the adventures of superpowered individuals known as the Next. These famous heroes worked within their city for sponsor companies, with uniforms detailing their brands, with all of their exploits broadcast on Hero TV, as each hero seeks to gain the most points and become the king of heroes. Our protagonists are aging hero Kotetsu T. Kaburagi, Wild Tiger, who's assigned a new up-and-coming partner, Barnaby Brooks Jr. Surprise, surprise, these two don't get along right away, but they have a whole 25 episodes to figure it out, and solve some mysteries about their industry and Barnaby's past along the way. I enjoy all types of superhero fare. They do it differently in Japan. It's a lot more regimented, I guess would be a good word. Most times their superheroes are state controlled and work in tandem with the state, and that's how it is. They don't operate above or separate from the law the way they tend to in Western media. Not that the lone hero operating outside the confines of society doesn't exist. It does. It's just not typically applied to superheroes. And that small fact, that's just one of the reasons why sometimes these anime reviews take longer, because there are cultural differences that need to be addressed. And it can be very easy, if you're not careful, to just examine something from one's own cultural bias and not look at the outside factors, outside systems, and that's equally important. Everybody has biases, and that's fine. It's just about recognizing them and seeing how they may be impacting how you're viewing a work, and how other people's either biases or cultural settings or backgrounds could impact how they view a work. Also, if a work is coming from a different place, it may have a different intended meaning. So yeah, always lots of things to talk about, and not to mention in anime fandom there are different terminologies, different levels, different things that are taboo one place and not in another. An example being how in Western society the word otaku was used very positively, like I'm an otaku, it's like being a nerd and I love anime, which is fine, it's just you wouldn't really go to Japan and call yourself an otaku, at least not last time I checked, unless that's changed. Please let me know if it has. Now, there tends to be a stigma surrounding anime in some circles still. Some people still view it as very childish because it's animated. There is that perception in Western culture that animation tends to equal children's programming unless explicitly stated otherwise, which is not the case in a lot of the rest of the world. Now, there are tons of great anime out there, so I guess I'll just give you some of my favorites that I've watched, why, maybe a ship or two, and if you want to watch it, just like the TV shows. Here are some anime that I like that maybe you'll like, and if you've already seen it, we can talk about it. Yeah. So, starting off with one that if you've been here for a while, you know what it is, Baccano. I'm a huge fan of Baccano. Baccano means turmoil in Italian, and that's a good name for this quick romp that aired in 2007 and focused on, well, a lot of things. A train robbery, gangland warfare, immortality, and more importantly, where is Dallas Genoward? There was a lot going on, and none of it linear. The characters are strong, especially because they have to keep the viewers invested and make sure they stick around to see just what exactly is going on. Now, if you're afraid of length when it comes to anime, Baccano's got you covered. It is not long, you're not gonna be there your whole life. This isn't a Bleach, a Naruto, any of those things where it's like, oh look, it's 200 episodes. I guess I'll just block off a month and watch only this. Nope, 16 episodes, you're good to go. It's got an amazingly unique narrative presentation in the way it's told, specifically in regards to time and how it jumps around. It's a period piece in the Prohibition era, which I'm a huge fan of, but it also incorporates some fantasy elements, which is very cool. The dub is good. People really need to stop hating on dubs so much. There are times when, depending on where the anime is set, it may play better in a different language, just like how Monster plays very well in German. This tends to play very well in English, especially when they got the accents of the area where the character is supposed to be from. Admittedly, this will also vary based on where you are viewing from, so there are many factors that will influence your enjoyment and determine which language / dub or sub appeals to you. I got a comment on the last video that was all like, oh, Americans complaining about their subs. I love subs. Subs are great. I'm one of those people who watches things with subtitles all the time just because I enjoy reading what they're saying. But don't pretend there aren't legitimate reasons that a person would prefer a dub over a sub, and there's nothing wrong with it. It really isn't a cause for elitism. And that's to say nothing of just personal preference. Don't disregard that. In all honesty, it really is lovely to live in an age where there's so many times the option for both when it comes to many anime due to the increased popularity. Also, Baccano probably has my anime OTP, that being Isaac and Miria. I actually featured them in my old video from way back in the day, 3 villain couples that actually work, because they're fantastic. If you want a functioning villain, I say villain because they break the law. Some people felt I was too harsh. If you want a functioning villain couple, they're it for you. They're really good. Now onto a classic that some people don't know about despite how iconic it is within anime circles, and that's Cowboy Bebop. Cowboy Bebop takes us back to the 90s, the years 98 and 99, for 26 episodes of space-filled action. The series focused upon the lives of 2 bounty hunters initially as they traveled the galaxy picking up some stragglers. All of them were running from their various demons, well, except maybe Ed. As the series went on, more and more of their backstories were revealed, as was the state of the galaxy they inhabited. It's a must-watch for space western fans. This existential-esque space drama is fantastic. It was one of the gateway anime for many people that showed people that anime could be serious. It wasn't all the shonen style stuff that was just, I gotta be the best, gotta beat 'em all, gotta be a Saiyan, gotta Sailor Scout. Shonen is a style of entertainment aimed at young boys, with the characters making up the word literally meaning boy and comic/cartoon. That is not to say that these works don't also appeal to females, however there are exclusive works produced targeting a specific young female demographic. Those are called shoujo. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but this displayed a different genre to a wider range of people, because there are of course other things being imported, but what became popular in the wider circles tended to be very shonen-esque. Now, Cowboy Bebop is one of those ones that's a bit hyped. Everybody says it's so good, it's the greatest, and I know that hype makes some people want to steer clear. They're like, oh really? Is it that good? Is it? With Cowboy Bebop, I think it is. Watch for yourself and determine for yourself, but it definitely has something unique that is worth checking out. A more recent one next, From the New World. Based on a novel by Yusuke Kishi. That novel was turned into a manga and then an anime of 25 episodes. It follows the life of Saki Watanabe as she grows up in a dystopian society that has emerged following the mass presentation of psychic and telekinetic abilities that changed the course of the world. The series is a mystery as to what exactly is happening to the children of this society, and also examining the history of this world. I love sci-fi. I love sci-fi in any genre, so anime sci-fi, here I come. From the New World is a very interesting dystopian piece that I like because it takes a lot of concepts that have been used before but plays with them in a very unique way. You have the agrarian future culture, psychic children, mole people, mutants, just everything. Up next, Erased. Adapted from the manga The Town Without Me is a 12-episode thriller series that follows Satoru Fujinuma. He is suddenly sent back in time to his youth after the gruesome murder of his mother. He must find the assailant and save multiple lives in the process, both in the past and the present. Erased is a neat little psychological thriller, which again isn't too long. It deals in time travel and correcting past mistakes, and the centralized mystery of who exactly murdered this young girl. Now, if you've seen a lot of mysteries and you're good at reading anime intros and that kind of thing, then you might not be that surprised as to who it turns out is doing the killing, but that's not the most enjoyable thing about this anime, which is what makes it a good mystery. A good mystery is something you can watch even if you know who did it and what happens and still get something out of it, which is a very hard line to walk for that genre. But this anime really manages to walk it quite well. Another favorite of mine? Draggin. Back to 1998 for a less remembered anime of 26 episodes. Draggin mostly follows the adventures of Vash the Stampede, a gunslinger promoting love and peace, also known as the humanoid typhoon, whose reputation is many hunting him down to challenge him or just figure out what exactly he's doing. As the series progresses, more is uncovered not only about Vash, but about the nature of humans' existence on this world and how exactly that ties in with the humanoid typhoon. Now, right off the bat, I have to say that Draggin isn't the best adaptation of its manga out there, but it works very well for what it is. It gets some criticism for its admittedly pretty intense tonal shift exactly halfway through. It goes very much from, we're having a good time, future sci-fi dystopian planet, what's going on, to, oh, that's really horrible, people are dead. I personally don't mind the whiplash because I feel like the first half of the series really gets you invested, so when all the horrible stuff starts happening, you're really more keen to find out what's going to happen to these characters you've grown to love. It also plays very nicely with lots of theological Christian elements, and not just for show or surface, it's really trying to say something about them. The stance it takes on pacifism, what it truly means to adhere to your beliefs in a world that really doesn't want you to, is really interesting to watch play out. Like the existentialism of Cowboy Bebop before it, it just works well through its theme. So if you're someone who likes seeing stuff like that play out, this is definitely an anime worth checking out, even though yes, tonal shift, and sometimes the animation is a little cheap. That's okay. It's okay. Another one. Parasite the Maxim. Based on a classic horror manga, follows Shinichi Izumi, whose hand is taken over by a parasitic alien creature as part of a silent invasion. Burdened with the information that he learns from this creature, he finds himself at the forefront of a battle for humanity against these parasites who are out to literally consume mankind. This one's it's a little gross. If you can't handle your gore, you're probably not gonna like Parasite that much. What I love about Parasite is how many of you are fans of the movie The Thing. John Carpenter's The Thing is a horror classic and is renowned not only for its terrifying concept, but also because of the special effects that still look great. Not all practical effects hold up, but the ones in The Thing, disgusting. There was talk for a time of there being a Thing television series, and who knows, maybe one day the talks will restart, it'll actually happen, but one of the things that really held it back was the budget you would need for the transformation sequences, because of course you can't have a Thing TV show without gross heads popping off and everything. I wouldn't watch it. I would not stand for it. So if you're one of those people who is disappointed by that series not popping up yet, Parasite is a great alternative for that. Lots of the themes and concepts play out very much like you would expect from a Thing TV show. Even the way the aliens manifest is very Thing-like. On top of that, the whole clueless protagonist thing doesn't go on for too long because sometimes that can really drag out and you're just like, okay, we know what's going on. Why can't you figure it out? Although it does have one of those hilarious hair equals personality transformation sequences that happens a lot in anime. He goes from like mousy nerd hair to gelled hair, so now he's cool. So if you ever need to survive any kind of alien incursion, gel in your hair. Gel in your hair times 10 to your fighting skill. Now, time to get shonen. You know that I love Dragon Ball Z, but did you know that I also love Food Wars? This one was introduced to me by a friend of mine, shout out to Chibicup, and it is a cooking challenge anime. He's got to be the very best chef at the cooking school, and he's going to show them that you don't need to come from an elite background to have the best cooking skills. I love this. It combines two of my favorite things, having to be the very best and cooking. Also, in the manga itself, each issue comes with a recipe that you can try, which I think is amazing. This one is one of those ones with the archetypical characters, and you can look at them and be like, oh, meek girl, bad boy, enemy girl with giant bosom, all of that stuff, but it's still a lot of fun. There's nothing wrong with adhering to some classic tropes if you do something with them or if they just really work in the context. Although, fair warning, if cheesecake rubs you the wrong way, you may want to steer clear, because there is tons in Food Wars. It's meant to be mostly for comedic effect and over-exaggeration of just how amazing the food is, and it's equal opportunity cake, but I know that's not for everyone regardless of intent. You want more? That's not enough? Good, because I got more. Slice of life time. Space Brothers. Now, Space Brothers is one of those ones that does admittedly go on for a long time. And it takes a long time getting there, but oh boy, do I enjoy the journey. It's the tale of these two brothers, both of whom grew up with the aspiration to be astronauts, but one pursued it very seriously from his youth, and the other one not so much. Now he's older and he's gonna take that chance. He's gonna try and be an astronaut. The thing I like about this one is it's so heartfelt. The characters in it are just nice. It's not one of those ones with the melodramatic glasses like me shining villain and trying to derail everything. It's just life and circumstances, and sometimes it's nice to see something where the only adversity is just the characters themselves, as in not that they're stupid, but just the circumstances of their life or the situations that they find themselves in. He's old. He's old and he's trying to do this thing that you're not in peak physical condition, you haven't had all the training, it's just an uphill battle. Admittedly, longer than it should be, a little bit predictable, but nice. It's comforting, it's comfort anime. And now I have to share my favorite anime, the one that made me stay in. Of course, I was growing up, I was watching the Dragon Ball Z, the Sailor Moon, the Shaman King, yeah. I didn't end up seeing Cowboy Bebop or stuff until later, when it became more accessible online and that kind of thing. But one of the first ones that I saw that hooked me, and I knew I was going to love this genre forever, was Oniisama. Dear Brother. I don't even know how many people know about this one. It's one of those ones that when I try and find it again, I have to search so hard. Basically, it was a very, very, very heavily Yuri-styled coming-of-age story. So for those of you who are like, I need some Yuri, where are the ladies? This anime is for you. It's very slow-paced, gentle. It's slice of life-ish. It's very, very melodramatic. But the way it plays out and the time it takes with its characters and getting to understand their pathos, I was hooked. You just end up caring about each person and you want to see how they're interconnected, and you can understand why she has this intense attraction and crush-like appeal to all of them. Also, it was during my Vampire Chronicles phase, and one of them really looked like Lestat, and that was doing it for me. So those were just some off the top of my head. Just sat down. There are so many more that I really enjoy. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Hunter x Hunter, the new one, Original Berserk, even though it ends right when it's getting good. That was the most traumatizing last episode of anything I have ever seen, except maybe Blake 7. Dead Man Wonderland. Where's my season 2? I'm so sad. I was really invested in that. Steins Gate, the best sci-fi adaptation of a dating sim out there. Love Hina? Get out of here. Actually, if we're sharing anime stories, Love Hina got me into trouble in high school because I brought in some of the manga, and the cover of one of the issues had all of the girls out there in their bikinis with tan lines and breasts, and admittedly it was a bit much. I didn't think anything of it because when you read it, it's not that cheesecakey. Yes, there is for the harem style manga that we're working with. So I brought them to give to my friend, and he was reading it in class, and then he got sent to the office, and then he was like, oh, Sasha gave them to me. So I had to go down to the office and sit there and listen to how inappropriate this was, and just, I have no couth, I'm gross, I'm a pervert. I talked back to the vice principal and said, you know, there's much worse manga in the library, because that was the year we had first gotten manga into our library for the very first time. It was a huge deal. There was one tiny rack. It was actually a rolled out rack. It didn't even have its own shelf. That's how few we had. And I remember the manga I pointed to as being worse was Death Note. I remember saying, like, do you even know what's in there? And so he was kind of like, oh, okay. I could tell he didn't believe me, and he just let me off with a slap on the wrist of don't bring them to school anymore. But I remember being like, you haven't read anything in there, have you? So to make the entire concept of a very long video very succinct, I love anime. I think it's great. I'm looking forward to doing more on this channel. It's gonna be a good, interesting time. If you have any anime OTPs, please share them with me down below so I know what you guys want to see. As always, I hope you enjoyed this more chit-chatty style video and just hanging out, talking about some fandom, getting some recs, being relaxed. Oh, and a treat for those of you who made it all the way to the end. Ba 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 ba. Yes, it's Carry On. If you guys have been here for a long time, way back, almost 2 years ago now, when we did Fangirl, I promised I was also going to review this book and we could talk about fan fiction and writing and all of that fun stuff. And this is just here to say, I know it's late. I know, but I keep my promises. I do. It's just sometimes it takes me a while to get to everything. I know I say yes to a lot of things in the comments. People are like, I want that. I'm like, yes. And I think a lot of people think that I'm just trying to be people pleasy. Oh, she just says that. She doesn't mean it. But no, I do. I will get to everything that I have ever said that I will do. It'll just take some time. That's all. But it's gonna happen. So yes. Look forward to this. I have it. Look, it's real. Because I am fully intent to also take us into BookTube. We're gonna be TV show tube, comic tube, anime tube, all the tubes, because fandom is so many things and I want to touch on as many aspects of it as possible. And hopefully you guys will hang out there with me for it. As always, thank you so much for watching. And of course, let's go to the outro. This has been Shipper's Guide to the Galaxy. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter to stay up to date or just hang out. Also, special thanks to all my patrons for helping make this possible. Names on the side. And as always, stay tuned, for there are as many ships out there as there are stars in the sky.